G'day everyone. Well, I just thought I'd do a quick update on my phytoplankton culture chamber in my sump that I have designed. It has just done a dose. I've got it set up on the Jabo doser. I've got a 2 litre bottle of salt water mixed up that it doses into the phytoplankton chamber. It has just done a dose a short time ago, and as you can see, it is dripping from the float valve. It's a really nice deep green now. I've now had this phytoplankton culturing for 5 weeks and is looking really good, and it is working really well so far. I did originally have a fluoro light above it and running 24/7. I did have some Koaleigh in here, but it wasn't getting enough light from the fluoro, and the Koaleigh was starting to turn white, so I had to remove it. I've now got a floodlight that I got from Home Depot. I think it was like a 5,000 or 6,500K LED, and the phytoplankton is just loving it. It is just growing really well. I'm really happy with it. One issue I did find is that in this sort of a setup, I also do get a bit of evaporation in the phytoplankton, and replacing it with salt water, it did raise the salinity. I did originally start off at 1.020, and when I checked it, it was about 1.025. So I've been adding a little bit of RODI water to the phytoplankton to lower the salinity back down. I'm now running the water that I'm dosing to the phytoplankton at 1.017, so it's a little bit lower than 1.020 to fix the problem with raising the salinity in the phytoplankton. So everything's looking good so far. I'm really happy with it. It's all working well. Every day it doses 100 milliliters via the dosing pump, doses the salt water mix into the phytoplankton, and it overflows from the phytoplankton chamber via the float valve into the sump, then goes into the system. And the reason why I've got a float valve in there, you may or may not have seen from the previous video, is if the power goes off and the water rises in the sump, I don't want any of my tank water getting into the phytoplankton chamber. So if the water rises in the sump, it raises the float valve and stops any water from getting into the phytoplankton chamber. So far so good. You can just see I've got a power head in there to keep the phytoplankton well mixed, and I've got an air pump running to it via that airline tube to add air to it. I've had it running like that now for I think a couple of weeks, and yeah, it's really doing well. So far it seems like my own design of a phytoplankton culture chamber in a sump is working really well. Now this is 5 weeks on, and you can see it's a really nice deep green, and it is now starting to dose into the sump which then gets pumped up into the tank, which is currently, the lights are off. It's now midnight, and I've got the dosing pump to pump 100 mils into this phytoplankton chamber, 100 mils once a day at midnight. So yeah, very happy so far, and everything's working out as planned. So let me know what you think in the comments below, and if you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button, and I'll catch you on the next video.